Thank you so much, Romel. It's really great to see you. And thanks for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts with the students of Eastern Washington University. Go Eagles! You know, you look so professional. It's really, you look so great. And thank you. It is an honor to be here with you. And I hope that, that what I'm about to present to you will be of value to you. I know you have all-day event here. And you know, I met some of the presenters, and you have a great choice of presenters for this event. Mr. Watson was just reading a written bio about me. And, you know, it's kind of tame. So I'm going to let you in on a secret about Ben Cabildo. How many people have seen the movie Slumdog Millionaire? Okay, good. Well, you know those kids that are running around in India? I was one of those running around in the Philippines. Okay, we were very poor, and we lived in the streets of Manila. And, you know, you have to be very resourceful when you're way down there, because you're not going any other way except up. And since I left the Philippines in 1963, I have not stopped moving upward. And here I am today, speaking to you about my experience in my upward movement. And I haven't stopped yet, okay? I've been a troublemaker in this country for over 40 years in my professional career, okay? I love this country, and I owe this country a lot, which is why I served in the military. And I joined the military right after high school, went to Vietnam, and you know, I was there for 2 years so that I can get an early out so I can go to college, and I did that. But I haven't stopped being a troublemaker. Just to give you some idea, when I started going to the University of Washington in 1970, I organized an alternative classes for students outside of campus. And so we walked out of many of our different political science classes so that we can discuss politics outside without the control of the professors. Because during that time, the professors at University of Washington, they were pretty conservative. So outside, we had about 100 students every week talking about political issues, you know, the Vietnam War, the role of the United States throughout the world, the two-party system, the economic system, and all kinds of things. Really relevant to being a political science major. How many political science majors are here today? Oh, okay, just a couple. Okay, those are very wonderful experience for me, but we were almost an alternative to the current classes at the U. In 1971, I took the students out of the university and into the community. Okay, today it's a legitimate thing because you call it community service, right? Back then, they didn't have that. So I organized them to work with me in Chinatown in Seattle to serve the senior citizens that were living there. And because they were not getting services from the city of Seattle, we had to organize all the students to compose themselves as groups, social workers, medical students, journalists, and put together an organization that helps those senior citizens. So we had a group of medical students that went from hotels to hotel, checking out the senior citizen and connecting them with the services that are available for the seniors. So, before that, the seniors were dying and nobody knew that they were dead after 2 weeks of, people smelling the odor coming out of the door. So that's one of the things I did. In 1972, I guess it was every year, I organized demonstrations, okay, against the Dome Stadium. Okay, how many people have gone to the Dome Stadium in Seattle? Okay, not very many, but a lot of people enjoy it, Well, the reason why we organized demonstrations against it is because they were going to displace the seniors who are living in Chinatown, okay, when they built the Dome Stadium. So we held demonstrations and we talked to the city of Seattle, and finally they, we negotiated a deal where they will build more low-income housing for senior citizens and not displace them. So we all enjoy the Dome Stadium today. It's there. At the same time, the senior citizens also live there, and the Chinatown of Seattle is in place. So, it produced good results. And then for the last 20 years in Spokane, I've been challenging Spokane to be more welcoming and supportive of diversity. Because as you know, Spokane is about 10% minority population, and sometimes because of not really understanding the different culture, how to work together, how to leverage the strength, there's some misunderstanding. So I want to make sure that minorities and other disenfranchised groups are respected and valued and leveraged for their talent and their contribution, to our community. But I haven't stopped, working on it, and maybe one of these days I will get a PhD in troublemaking, but I haven't stopped. So being true to who I am, my message to you today is about opposing mediocrity, about opposing certain mindsets that will be a barrier to your professional development, and to challenge you to be the best you can. That's how I wanted to talk to you about today. And there's a quote that I usually talk to business owners, because I want the business owners to really explore opportunities out there. So one of the most beautiful quotes that I keep repeating to them is, I don't know the author of this quote, but I really like it. It says, "You cannot discover new oceans unless you have the courage to lose sight of the shores." Okay? Yes, you need to have the courage to lose sight of the shores of mediocrity. Okay? You're trying to position yourself, in the market. You'll be graduating soon and you need to position yourself. So it's important to really oppose mediocrity, or else it's going to be impossible for you to compete. So let me start my presentation by framing the topic for today. Back in the early 70s, Woody Allen made a famous statement: 80% of success is just by showing up. People remember that? Probably my age. Okay. Okay. And then it was popularized by George Bush in his Washington, D.C. speeches. He changed it to 90% instead of 80%. 90% of success is just by showing up. Okay, you know, that might be true back then. It wasn't true in Seattle because I was living in Seattle, and Boeing laid off. So, and we had this big sign just outside, just before going out of Seattle, says, "Last one out, turn off the light," right? But you know, it was a pretty hard life for people in Seattle. You know, but you know, that quote is not true today. How many people have read Thomas Friedman's book, The World is Flat? Okay, okay. I would really recommend to read that, and also his other book, which is A Flat, Crowded, and I forgot what it is, Flat, Crowded, and Hot. It's a sequel to, the next sequel to his book. It's really excellent because it talks about, you know, the market, your market today. And you know, you might not agree with the solutions that he's proposing with those two books, but he was vividly describing what you will encounter, or what you are encountering today and what you will encounter when you graduate. There's a major shift that has taken place all over the world. Okay? It's not only that our jobs are going overseas, and you all know that. People have been shouting about that for a long time. But at the same time, you're also competing with people all over the world with regards to workforce. You know, China and India are producing all kinds of professionals with higher educational attainment than most of the Americans. Okay? And you are competing with them. You're not just competing with, you know, your fellow students that are graduating from Eastern, but you're competing with the world professionals. Okay? And I know because I helped bring a lot of those professionals here. Okay, because there's a need for them. We couldn't get any qualified professionals from Spokane or from the United States, so we had to bring them from India, China, Philippines, etc. Okay, we don't want to, you know, we don't want to have to do that. We want to hire all of you, okay, to provide those professional, positions to you guys, but not to foreign professionals. But you have to compete, and that's the market today. So in contrast with what Woody Allen said back in the 70s, I wanted to read a couple of quotes from recent quotes from two leaders from the book called Letters from Leaders. One is from David Tang. He's a successful leader and an entrepreneur. He said, "Never kid yourself that just because you are determined, good with people, good at analysis, diligent, sensible, responsible, and hardworking, you are qualified to be employed. These are merely the minimum requirements." The minimum requirements. So in this very, very competitive situation, you need to go beyond those minimum requirements. 90% of success is not just by showing up. Okay, it's very, very different field. So what do you need to do to go beyond those minimum requirements in order to succeed? There's another quote I wanted to read from you from E. Marie McKee, who's a senior vice president of Corning Incorporated, which is an international company. She said, "Give yourself the permission and time to explore options for your future. You set your own limits when you don't expose yourself to new ideas, new people, and new challenges. Your passion will emerge through this exploration. Expose yourself to new ideas, new people, and challenges. You are young and, and talented and smart. The world is quite open for you. You just need to explore it. Have the courage to do it. You're very young. I wish I am, in that situation again. But I've had my share, and I have explored and been very successful in my exploration. And that's what keeps me pretty happy. This reminds me of an old Cherokee legend entitled Two Wolves. I want to read it to you. One evening, an old Cherokee told his grandson about the battle that was going on inside himself. He said, "My son, it is between two wolves. One is evil, anger, angry, envy, sorrow, greed, arrogance, self-pity, guilt, inferiority, lies, false pride, ego. The other is good, joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith." So the grandson thought about it for a minute and then asked, "Grandfather, which wolf wins?" The old Cherokee simply replied, "The one I feed. The one I feed." So remember, you need to expose yourself to new ideas, new people, and new challenges. So the overall theme of my presentation today is to challenge yourself to go beyond the minimum requirements, which I mentioned, by exposing yourself to new ideas, new people, and new challenges. And keeping that in mind, let me share with you 3 pointers that will help position you to be competitive when you join the marketplace. If these ideas resonate with you, then I encourage you to take them up and move forward from here and never looking back. So the 3 points I want to elaborate today briefly is: one, it's important that you adopt an entrepreneurial mindset. The second one is pay attention to your brand. And the third one is network, network, network. They're going to be brief. I want you to explore those ideas. And these insights are based on my experience, working with professionals globally, my relationship with decision makers in the state of Washington, and my work as a counselor for business owners in this region. So please bear with me while I make an attempt to make my points relevant to where you're at today. I know most of you are full-time students, right? So you will be graduating and joining the workforce. But, events like this is very important to prepare you for when you join the workforce, because you are way behind if you don't prepare yourself and you only do it right after you graduate. In fact, I have a lot of students that come see me after they graduate, and they want me to help them find jobs, because I do have a lot of connections, particularly in Spokane. But they're a little bit behind instead of preparing themselves while they're in college. So it's important to really focus on your education, but I want you to go out there, okay, and not wait till you graduate. So you will all be joining the workforce, okay? So to prepare you for joining the workforce, you have to envision that you're already in the workforce, okay? And you know, this is one of my advice for small businesses who are just wanting to get started. They come to me, they want to do a business plan. Okay? So I said, okay, when we do a business plan, you envision that you're already you're already a business. So we need to do a projection 5 years from now. What would your business look like 5 years from now? Okay, so the same thing I do with businesses, I want you to do the same thing. Prepare yourself, and preparing yourself means envisioning yourself, okay, to be in the workforce. So let me get started with the first point, which is entrepreneurial mindset. The question comes up, who are you in the workforce? Who are you in the market? Okay, are you just an employee? Or are you just a technician or somebody? Okay, people typically see themselves as that. I don't want you to see yourself as just an employee. I want you to consider yourself, when you go out into the market, that you are in business to succeed for yourself. You are an entrepreneur. You're not an employee. You are an entrepreneur. You are the Me Incorporated. You are in business for yourself. Okay, and that's very important. Whether you have thought about it or not, if you're in the workforce, you market your services for a fee, right? Unless you're a professional volunteer. Who wants to become a professional volunteer? Nobody, right? So you have to market yourself for a fee. When you market yourself for a fee, you're a business person. You're an entrepreneur. Okay? And when you're an entrepreneur, you have to adapt the whole mindset and skills of entrepreneurs to be successful. Let me define for you what entrepreneurism is, okay? The definition, there are many definitions, but my favorite definition is from Greg Watson. He holds an MBA from the University of Illinois. He's a professor and retired private serial entrepreneur. This is what he says about entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is more than simply starting a business. The definition of entrepreneurship is a process through which individuals identify opportunities, allocate resources, and create value. This creation of value is often through the identification of unmet needs or through the identification of opportunities for change. Continued on, he said, entrepreneurs sees problems as opportunities, then take action to identify the solutions to those problems and the customers who will pay to have those problems solved. Entrepreneurial success is simply a function of the ability of entrepreneur to see these opportunities in the marketplace, initiate change, and create value through solutions. Identifying opportunities, allocating resources, and creating values. Those are the magic words of what entrepreneurship is all about. Okay? Whether you have a business or not, that should be the magic words for you if you want to be successful in your field. So what I'm advocating for you is to take up entrepreneurism. At the same time, try to shed those things that you have learned while you're growing up, which is the employee mentality. Okay? You know, I'm not creating that contradiction between being an employee and being an entrepreneur. I think we need that, but it's the question of the mindset. Okay, you can be an excellent employee if you take up entrepreneurial mindset. Much better than any typical employee out there. An employee, somebody with an employee mindset look to short-term gains, such as getting their paycheck and rewards, short-term. Entrepreneurs look to building a sustainable and a successful and sustainable future. That's a major difference. Okay, it's just like in business, transactional versus relational. I tell my small businesses, work with your customers, not from a transactional basis, but relational. Okay, you don't want to get their, $50, a transaction. You want to get thousands of dollars by having them coming to you each and every time. Okay, be relational rather than transactional. Entrepreneurs take charge of their income and career. They don't let anybody else make decisions for them. Okay? How does entrepreneur take charge of their income and career? Okay, one of the things we do in the business community is set goals. We want you to set goals. Goals as to the income that you want to get. And goals, quantifiable goals, where you're going to be in 3 years. And then you go out and achieve it. You can achieve it many different ways, and you have to develop those strategies. Either expand your client base, leverage your time, or establish presence in another marketplace. Entrepreneurs are always looking for ways to achieve the income that they want to achieve. They don't wait for anybody. They don't wait for weekly paycheck. Okay? Entrepreneurs maximizes their time rather than managing it. Okay? You learn how to manage your time, but entrepreneurialism is not about managing, it's about maximizing. You have 8 hours, you try to fill it with opportunities, those 8 hours. Not just to sit there and occupy your seat, and pretend you're busy. Okay? As entrepreneurs, you use that 8 hours to maximize it. That's the difference between an employee and an entrepreneur. Entrepreneur takes matter in their own hands, and they don't wait for anybody else to solve their problems. Okay? Typically, when something happens at work, you vacillate for a while, and then you take action. You go to the management and look for solutions, right? Okay. Entrepreneurs, they take things in their hands, and they deal with it right away to make sure it does not go any longer. Because if it's a barrier for your development, then you have to deal with it right away. Don't vacillate. When dealing with financial setbacks, employee will shrink their budget and sell some possessions to make up for the lost income. Entrepreneurs expand. Okay, they don't shrink their budget. They find solutions and making the best use of their current assets by launching many different businesses or or products. They try to monetize new markets. They try to find other streams of revenue. Okay, they don't shrink, they expand. Big difference in terms of mindset. Entrepreneurs take ownership. They don't wait for instructions. Entrepreneurs knows what needs to be done and do it and move forward. You know, some businesses do fail not because of having an entrepreneurial mindset, but because when they set up their business, they're entrepreneurs, but when they get their business going, they wait around for instructions because they brought in that employee mindset with them to their business. Okay? People come to me when it's too late for them to turn their business around. Okay? They just sit there and not really look at the trends and not really innovate their products or services, etc. Then they come to me when it's too late. I have had a lot of businesses come to me when it's too late. And it's hard for me to address them. Entrepreneurs are also accountable for their actions and decisions. And accountability is not very strong. It's not a strong suit for people who have employee mentality. Because to them, it's not my job. I'm only here 8 hours, and after 8 hours, I'm gone. Right? It's not my job. Entrepreneurs, they need to hold themselves accountable for every action, every decision that they make. If it's something that is not working, they fix it and move forward. They know that if they don't fix it, what's going to happen? They're going to lose their customers. Their income is going to fall down. Okay? So they have to hold themselves accountable. Entrepreneurs are always thinking of how to bring value to the table. And this is very important. Okay? You can't just show up to work 8 hours and do the same thing you're doing over and over again. Okay? You have to bring value. If an employer is your customer, you have to bring value to that employer. Be valuable to them. In my experience, I used to work for a corporation in the Bay Area. Okay? So I was an employee for a long time. But I'm always thinking of solutions for the company. Well, you know, luckily, they had this service improvement program. So if you turn in an innovative products or design or anything innovative or improvement, they give you money. Well, you know, because it's hard for me to just wait and do the work. I have to be thinking of how to improve it and things like that. So I brought in a lot of designs, a lot of proposals, and I got a lot of money out of that. And not only that, I got a lot of promotions. Okay, within a year, I was on top of the ladder in my field for Kaiser Permanente. Okay? So entrepreneurs are solution thinkers. Even if it's not your company, think that it is your company. You're solving problems. You're bringing value to the table. Okay? Become a very valuable employee. And I will tell you, you will get a raise, you will get a promotion, or if there's an attrition, they will, you know, think last of you, unless there's a union. A union, you have to abide by the seniority clause. Okay? So, entrepreneurs are always enhancing their position in the minds and hearts of their customers. Okay, this is #1 for entrepreneurs. Because of the competitions out there, If you don't position yourself, you're going to lose your customers. Okay? About 80% of customers move out of their current providers because the company is not serving their needs, or they don't feel that they're appreciated. Okay, 80%. Okay, so you always need to position yourselves in the mind of your customers. You know, positioning saved my life in Vietnam. Okay, typically you're just a soldier, you just go there with your rifle and do whatever needs to be done. But I was different. Okay, I was sent to Vietnam in 1970 to a far away area called Long Tan North. Okay. We were the first ones there, so we had to develop establish the perimeter. It was just an open field, so it was kind of scary. It was dangerous. So I was there for a year. But during that time, because we had a new transportation company that we just established, we didn't have a logo, a patch, for the company. Well, I designed one. I designed a patch. I'm not an artist, but I knew the need was there, and I filled it. Well, you know what I got out of that? They took me out of the battlefield. Okay, they sent me to the resort in Vũng Tàu and gave me a job as a chief personnel clerk. I was an assistant to the commanding officer of the transportation battalion. Okay, because I positioned myself. They thought I was a very valuable person. Okay, so positioning yourself is, it's important for you, but it'll also save your life, which I did. Okay, I'm going to go quick because Romel is telling me I got 5 minutes. Okay. I'm going to move on to another point, which is the question of paying attention to your brand. Okay, remember, Me Incorporated, you're in business for yourself. Just as products carry a brand, people also carry a brand. Branding is how the world sees you. The impression you make on others, the value you stand for, and the qualities that mold your personality, and the characteristics that make you stand out in the crowd. Yes, everything you do or neglect to do will affect a person's impression on you. Okay? You notice people when they're poorly dressed. You create that impression in your mind, and that's how we are. Okay? So when you're working with people, when you're out in public, you have to align how you look like, how you speak with the brand that you want to create. Okay? I want you to think about what brand is it that you have that will move your career forward, and live that brand, deliver that brand. Okay? Because people judge you based on the value that you bring to the table. And the third point is basically network, network, network. Okay, so I'm not going to deal with LinkedIn, Facebook, because I know you know more than me with regards to that. I'm going to deal with face-to-face networking. Okay, there was a famous author by the name of Harvey Mackay. He taught millions of Americans how to swim with shark without getting eaten alive. And he's also a world-class networker. He said, talent alone will not save you in today's economy. The traditional advice, more training and education will not save you. The government will not save you. No matter how self-reliant, dedicated, loyal, competent, well-educated, and well-trained, you need more than that to save yourself. You need network. You need network every day. A network will help you deal with some of the life's minor annoyances as well as your most challenging problems. Your network can provide role models, advise you, comfort you, provide you with financial assistance. intellectual and social resources, entertainment, and a right to work in the morning. Without it, you'll have a hard time finding a client, making a sale, seeking a job, hiring the right employee. To say nothing of the personal stuff like locating a competent doctor, buying a house, deciding on a nursery school for your kids, etc. Okay? Network, network, network. Networking is about leveraging the strength and influence of other people. Typically, people know 200 people. An individual knows 200 people. So if you leverage the strength of a person, you have over 200 people on your network. Okay? So network is very, very important. But you have to network the right way, the entrepreneurial way, and not the employee type of way. Okay? I go to a lot of meetings. I network quite a bit. I know almost everybody in Spokane, okay? Because I network quite a bit. It's one of my things. But I see people, when they network, they just give out all kinds of cards to everybody, okay? And they get all kinds of cards for themselves, okay? Or they talk to as many people as they want, as they can for that short time, okay? That is a network of somebody with an employee mentality, because they have to get a whole bunch of cards to show their bosses that, I spend my time very well, okay? That's not the networking that I want you to do. Networking is about trust and relationship, okay? When you network, I want you to set goals, okay? Not try to meet everybody in the room. I hate it when I'm talking to somebody and this somebody is just talking to me and then going like this, right? Okay, it's very disrespectful, and I will never talk to that person again, because that's very disrespectful. Because they want to meet everybody. Okay, I want you to set goals. I want you to really have a direction in terms of who you want to meet and why you want to meet that person, and then follow up. Develop that relationship. Develop that relationship. If you have 300 or 400 people, 400 cards, you can't follow up on all of them. So you're just, killing trees, right? Okay, and I don't want you to do that. And another trick in networking, it's not really a trick, it's basically leveraging people with credibility. Okay, look for people who are gatekeepers, who have a lot of credibility, because if you connect with them, develop that relationship, it's instant credibility for you, okay? And I have done it time and again in Spokane, and I'm not bragging, but I'm pretty well known here, okay? I was so honored when the governor called me and she wanted me to be in the competitive council. It's a economic development competitive council, and the people that were there were CEOs of Boeing, CEOs of Avista, Scott Morris. I'm nobody. I'm just an entrepreneur. Okay, because I know how to network. Okay, so those are just a few things I want you to explore. And if it resonates with you, take action and learn it, because there's a lot more to it. I just didn't have the time to explain more. So with that, I want to thank you for having the patience to listen to my points, and good luck to all of you. Thank you. Thank you so much.